What's up, everybody? Liam Murphy back. How's everybody doing? We're on the eve of the NFL playoffs. Contests are filling across the different sites. Going to be talking some playoffs today, NFL playoffs. Going to be doing some drafts, probably mix in some daily drafts too. Without further ado, though, appreciate you all being here. Be sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Check out beatbestball.com if you want to learn from me about best ball. So, going to start things off on drafters today, which if you are not on drafters and you want to give it a try, here's a promo code for you. Drafters is different. It is total points. These are my first drafts doing. Maybe some overlay brewing. The contest is 10,000, almost 11,000 entrants out of 17,000 full. And the difference is this is a total points contest. It's kind of why I've saved it for last, because it's just a different mindset. Of course, you always need to check out the rules. So the scoring rules we know is PPR. 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wideouts, 1 tight end, 1 flex. So the same rules as DraftKings, different than Underdog. And then the way it works is, well, it looks like if you do 10 drafts, you get a free ticket. So that's nice. I don't believe you get any additional points for the future rounds, right? Whether your player is scoring points in wild card weekend or whether they're scoring points in the Super Bowl, I believe that is all the same. I don't really see where, yeah. Okay, so in general, strategy difference. What is different about this? We pulled the 6 hole. Well, points scored in wildcard weekend and points scored now are worth the same. So basically, drafting one-offs, drafting advance rate plays become more viable. For example, if you draft players from both the Bucks and the Commanders and that game shoots out, well, you may be happy even though your players are getting eliminated. You are getting a lot of points that maybe can't be replicated along the way. Of course, you still want to field a full Super Bowl roster. However, there is no pods, right? It's just you against everybody else. So you don't need to advance, which means that unlike in Underdog, unlike in Drafters, or unlike in DraftKings, where you might want to be drafting Mac Hollins, Ty Johnson, these types of plays become worse clicks overall because you don't need them necessarily. And you might not even need a full Super Bowl roster to win the contest, right? If you can get at least most of a Super Bowl roster, you may be able to still win. I don't know MFL or do contests there, so sorry, brother. Can't help you. I think I'll just do a drafters or two and then talk about how I see the playoffs. So I see no reason not to go Hurts. And then I think a clear pick for me is either AJ Brown or Cook. I can either play Eagles through AJ Brown or Eagles through the Bills. I do think AJ Brown and Cook is probably a rarer combo. So we're going to tie break like that. So we're ideally building for Eagles Bills. However, if the Eagles lose in the championship game to the Lions, that's okay as long as Hurts scores a lot of points along the way. Building Eagles with Lions players is also totally viable if you think that's going to be the championship game. Having bye week guys also Doesn't matter too much. In a vacuum, is Josh Allen a better pick than Pat Mahomes? Yes. If you think that Josh Allen can reach the AFC Championship game or Lamar, if you think that instead, you can try to adjust my camera without adjusting the zoom. It's hard. Professional, I know. Well, we're a little low on the camera, but it is what it is. Maybe I can lift my chair. Nope, we're at max. This is my hometown in the background. That picture. How's my zoom? There we go. I think this is looking better. So everything seems pretty normal. With Hurts, I'm probably still going solo quarterback. I don't anticipate myself getting a ton of these drafts in. The gauntlet on Underdog filled yesterday. The DraftKings Millie Maker will fill soon as well. Gotta fix this zoom. I mean, I don't think we're going to get Smith, but if we do, we will take him. Probably going to take Shakir as well. And I think taking 2 Lions is a nice fallback. Let's go Smith and let's go Shakir. Let's just stick with our Bills Eagles Super Bowl. Feels kind of rare to get Smith there, but I don't know. These are my first drafts. There we go. We're a little bit less low. So yeah, probably going to rip maybe 2 of these. Talk about the playoffs. So yeah, the DK best ball contest. It's got a little bit entrance left, the main one. No big, huge NFL news. Zay Flowers being out isn't a surprise. J.K. Dobbins being banged up, also not a surprise for me. For those who subscribe to beatbestball.com, I was pretty early on, there was no chatter on the Dobbins injury on Monday. But I was like, hello, this guy exited the game. If we can't get Goddard or Kincaid here, which we may not, I don't feel as forced to take like a Dawson Knox in this because you could totally win this contest without getting any tight end points by the Super Bowl. Do I want a tight end that can make the championship game? Yes. So maybe I would do a late round Noah Gray or Dawson Knox. Because we're kind of building for just the chalk AFC Championship, NFC Championship game, which is Eagles, Lions, Bills, Chiefs. Obviously, the Bills and the Ravens could go either way. This is probably a pretty bad pick by this guy here. Wow, and we get both. Let's rip both. Why not? Okay, so we have a Super Bowl roster built. We got the Bills against the Eagles. And from here, I'm going to mix in one-offs and I'm going to mix in ideally Chiefs and or Lions players. Probably won't be too many appealing players to pick from that, but you never know. So I like this team. Right, because the Super Bowl roster is a quarterback, a running back, 2 wideouts, a tight end, and a flex. It's kind of nice getting both Goddard and Kincaid as well. I mean, what is this pick? David Montgomery, round 2? I mean, was that a misclick? I don't know. Is that his ADP? I highly doubt it. Yeah, I think going Darnold with Josh is okay. It's not needed. Probably not my preference. So in like a playoff best in another side, I'd probably go in Cooper and Coleman. I don't feel like that's as needed here. It's totally on the cards as well. Going Cooper, going Keon. It's funny on DraftKings, Keon's ADP is higher than Cooper, which I mean are honestly like defensible. And then I don't think many people want to deal with the headache of Pacheco and Hunt. Seems like a real coin flip about who will actually get more touches in the playoffs, with Pacheco's health being a question. Pacheco goes, so we could go Hopkins Hunt, we could go Cooper Keon, we could go Cooper Hopkins, we could go Keon Hopkins. It's all open. It's all open to us. Let's maybe get one more Bills wide receiver. Keon, Cooper. We'll go Cooper, why not? And then let's get a Hunt. Just to get another running back starting next week. Chiefs are obviously very, very likely to be in the championship game, seeing as they have a bye, and then they just need to defeat the Chargers or Texans, assuming the Ravens and the Bills both win, which, you know, not a safe assumption, but as safe as you can get for playoffs. And I'd like to get some one-offs. Unfortunately for me, I stacked the Eagles, and the cheapest one-offs are the Packers, which I quite like, but obviously the Packers and the Eagles play each other. I mean, this could be a shipper we're building here, guys. I mean, I could build the Eagles and the Packers and kind of keep it safe. That kind of seems worse in a contest like this, though, as far as keeping it safe and for sure building in dead players for the first round. I don't think you should be doing that much. I think that's better to do in pod best ball. What's going on, guys? Chat's kind of quiet. I know it's Friday. Low notification that I'm going live, but the drafters link is also below if you want to give it a try. Some people like total points better. It's not my favorite game format, to be honest with you. Definitely would have gotten Mixon. So bummer to have that pulled from us. I mean, Hopkins for sure. And then let's go Austin Eckler. Get another running back. He's got a good chance of advancing at least this week. Having no Lions doesn't feel great, but if you're going to get a Lion, you need to pay up in the draft for it, seeing as Amon-Ra went here, Gibbs went here, Montgomery probably mistakenly went here, Laporta went here, and JMO went here. So like I literally didn't have an option unless I wanted to go Laporta over Shakir, which seems pretty bad to me. Will you be ripping any big board drafts right out of the gate? Putt Daddy, as someone who provides rankings of effing course, going to, I'm not gonna be going hot and heavy doing 5 drafts a week, but what I'll probably do is I'll probably do a couple big boards myself to get my bearings, and then I'll get my ranks together, my initial ranks, and then I will stream once I got my rank set, which, like definitely going to drop the ranks within the first week of the contest open. The big board is significantly different than something like Best Ball Mania, where drafting early still probably good, but the amount of unknown information for the big board is wild, where I wouldn't say drafting the day the contest drops is as valuable as something like Best Ball Mania. There is obviously you don't know the schedule ever. You don't know where the rookies go ever, right? So, but yes, we'll be doing some big boards. Putt Daddy 78. Appreciate you, Chris. Hell yeah, man. We'll get the ranks. We'll have the ranks. Best ranks in the biz. So yeah, going Packers players, not appealing to me. What is appealing? I mean, I could go George Pickens and hope that the Steelers beat the Ravens, seeing as I have no Ravens. That seems like a story to tell, and pair him with Najee. I could also go Rashad White. I think that's better than I could go Schultz as well. Yeah, let's go Pickens. Hope that the Steelers get an upset on the Ravens. And then probably between Najee and Rashad White. Rashad White would lock in a dead player for me with me having Eckler, but it would also lock in an advancing player. So let's go Najee. For someone to never draft Najee, I think this is a well-constructed team that still tells a good story. It's got the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Hurts, Smith, Goddard. And then it's got an AFC Championship game of Chiefs, Bills. It also has some one-offs. Eckler, whether he advances this weekend or not, doesn't matter. Also, game theory element, pulling Eckler up to the 10th round, not something people do. He usually goes in the 11th round. So the combinations of teams that have Eckler, Pickens, Harris could literally be only me. That's a game theory element, right? Like someone asked me when I was debating with Davis on the Worthy point, someone's like, well, have you ever won a playoff best ball contest? No, I have not. What I have done, though, is I've gotten like 3rd in PGA best ball using purely game theory. And guess what? I don't know more than like 5 golfers in the world. I did some research. I applied some game theory, and I got 3rd. But yeah, pulling Eckler up, not something many people do. And then obviously the nuts is for the Steelers to actually beat the Ravens for this team, because then I get Najee and Pickens playing further. But even if not, if they can at least get some PPR scam points this round with me having dead Chiefs players this round, seems good. So I like that team. Let's do one more for now, and then we'll just do a top-down discussion of the playoffs. Didn't get in that one. The high roller one also might overlay. Let's see, it's $200, 10K to first. Wow, these things are filling. We got the snow monster. Do you generally enjoy drafters? How's the app? I generally do enjoy drafters. The app is excellent. It actually shows you a draft board, unlike DraftKings, right? Like drafters app, similar to Underdog's app, where you can see the draft board, which to me is like one of the biggest things. DraftKings no app makes the DraftKings app terrible, right? Or no, DraftKings no draft board is what I meant. And whether like total points is not my favorite contest, but some people it is. And I definitely enjoy contests that overlay, which drafters usually does. So, and for some people, they can only draft in drafters, right? So if Underdog is banned in your state or DraftKings is banned in your state, look into drafters because they're available in some states that those ones are not. So would have liked to get a Josh Allen one here, but maybe I'll get one later. And for my YouTube members, gonna have some YouTube members perks coming down the pipeline. I think that's $4.99 on this channel. Starting next year, I'll definitely have some members only streams, maybe some night streams for them. So if you're looking into it, give it a try. Okay, so I could go Saquon and play the Eagles. I can go Gibbs and play the Lions. I think both are appealing. Obviously, with Saquon, he's going to get to play more games if he actually makes the Super Bowl. So that makes that appealing. Yeah, let's give that a try. I was going to go Gibbs just because. Just to play the Lions as well. I don't think I'm going to get Hurts, but he's obviously appealing. I think if not, we go someone like AJ Brown. And we hope to get Mahomes here. If not, Goff. And if not either, I don't know. This is probably a terrible start. Wow, I mean, we should get Hurts. Go Goff, dude. Go Goff, Shiravat. I'm going Goff. Okay, so he just simply didn't want me to have Hurts, I think. So we go AJ Brown. Or we go Cook. We go Cook with the plan to get Goff. Yeah, I think that's what we do. We go Cook. And the reason why I go Cook over Saquon is obviously we can't get a Goff Saquon Super Bowl, but we can get a Bills Goff Super Bowl. As a Bills fan, do you see Joe Brady leaving for head coach job as a big hit? I mean, number one, we don't know if he's leaving. And number two, no. I think Joe Brady has done some brilliant things with the Bills. He's clearly fitting what they want to do. But, the team goes as Josh Allen does, and any offensive coordinator. Okay, so this guy just wanted to tank my team, maybe. He's watching. Good for him. Obviously, this is, or maybe he was just mad I took Cook. I get it. It's okay to throw a fit. So, how do we adjust from here? Yeah, we're gonna play NFC. So I think we just start taking random pieces. We just try to get as many players in the AFC in the championship games as we can, and we just take a couple quarterbacks and pray they make it. So we're just gonna take randos here. Yeah, to finish this point. No, any obviously having a defensive head coach is kind of tough because when your OC does well, they usually leave. However, when you have a Josh Allen, people want to work with him, right? Who wouldn't? What makes your rankings better than others in the industry, like ETR? Haven't used yours before, but might be interested if they are the best. I mean, Vinny, obviously best. I'm sure they're better than me in some ways. I'm better than them in some ways. Ultimately, though, number one, I draft off my rankings. I actually put in significant volume into best ball, unlike a lot of the people making rankings elsewhere. Number two, I'm not afraid of being wrong, right? When you get to be a big business, there's a level of safety you need to have in your rankings where you're just trying to not upset people. To me, for example, no one else ranked Jamar Chase 103 in the industry. Why? Because that's not what the market did. They did Tyreek Hill to be safe. However, to me, I didn't think Tyreek Hill was a safe pick. He's old. He didn't have Joe Burrow as his quarterback. And I thought Chase is the best wide receiver in football. So I put my money where my mouth was, and I had him as the 103. And also, brother, I'm $100 for the year. So that would get you all the playoff best ball, whatever I do in season, and all of the best ball. And then obviously, I've had a lot of success in best ball. I've won 3 best ball tournaments. I got 30th or whatever this year in Best Ball Mania. I've gotten 5th in a puppy as well. So, I mean, year over year are different. Is anyone going to have the best rankings year over year? No. I've had a lot of success, though. Especially in my first round approach. Last year, faded Eckler and Kelsey, both busted. The year that Zeke and Kamara and Henry were picks 2 through 5, full faded Kamara and Zeke. Let's get a tight end. So, yeah, I mean, when you get kind of screwed in this one, where this guy's obviously just donating, he's not building a sensible roster at all. He probably doesn't know how the contest works. No offense if you're watching. But if you're watching, I would be confused why you don't know why the contest works. Yeah, I think it was more likely that I took Cook and he threw a bit of a fit and was like, oh, I'm not going to give you Goff. Which is fair, dude. If you want to waste your entry, go ahead. And so what do I do? Not really much I can do other than just try to jam championship game players, Lions, Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, and then just take a couple quarterbacks. He started good at least. This guy? Well, he started first pick, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Vrabel is he's similar to Mike Tomlin to me in the sense that he is a good coach. I don't think he's great though. Right? to the point where I think they're both very conservative. Tomlin, Vrabel. Now, you could say that, if you don't have a Josh Allen, it's harder to not be conservative, right? Because Sean McDermott for the Bills used to be pretty conservative, and he's improved in that area. I think I can also backstack the Packers. It's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I don't know. Team's probably dead. I was a chess teacher, Anthony, full-time chess teacher. And honestly, wouldn't mind going back and doing that. It wasn't a single day I regretted doing that. I think Tomlin is a great manager of men, just like Vrabel. I think Vrabel's a great manager of men. I think he's good at hyping people up. That's not the same thing, though, as making good decisions in game. And it's not the same thing as optimizing for the Super Bowl, right? Where it's like, to me, clearly, if you're trying to optimize for your team to reach the Super Bowl, you're going to roll the dice on Ben Johnson. You're going to roll the dice on Liam Cohen or any other guy who is maybe a brilliant offensive mind. And if your defensive coach isn't into that, if they want to draft Kenny Pickett to just be good, if they're happy being 9-7, they ain't it. All right, I have a plan. We'll see how it comes together, but I have a plan. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a quarterback league first, right? Like the people who used to think that Bill Belichick would legitimately after Bill Belichick lost Brady, the media, most fans were like, "Oh yeah, the Pats are going to win the division. It's Belichick." That's obviously idiotic. He doesn't actually play the game, right? And so and he's also probably an overrated coach. Who your quarterback is matters a lot. So, is Tomlin maybe overachieving with his quarterbacks? I'd maybe give him that, right? However, the truth is in the NFL, you have to be willing to bottom out. Typically, look no further than the Patriots, who were one of the worst, like the worst team in football probably last year. They didn't get the first overall pick, but they were one of the worst teams. And then they're still bad this year. However, what happened? They got Drake May. And now, with the Dolphins and the Jets looking so bad for the future, the Pats should quite easily be the second best team in the AFC, right? And now they have all this cap space, etc. Like, not being willing to bottom out, it's okay for some. If you're just trying to fill the stands, I get it. It's a gamble to pick at the top of the draft too, but in general, you have to be. Okay, so how did we adjust? We decided to build Saquon as a loss because I kind of had to. And we're building Bills Packers. Also means the Lions piece is a loss. Ladd could meet the Bills in the AFC Championship game. And we do have a Super Bowl roster where it'd be Cook and Jacobs and Love, Keon and Reed, and Shakir, Kincaid and Kraft, and probably tack on another Packer. So we built Packers, Bills, not my absolute favorite way to build them. We did get a lot of good pieces from both, but in general, would I want to pair Saquon on a Packers build? No, I would have rather that been Gibbs, right? But what are you going to do when this guy builds a dead team, right? Like in general, you should be willing to let this guy throw a tantrum and just accept that you're going to have to adjust. And it's obviously Dobbs or Wicks for me. We'll go Dobbs. Where does Kincaid go next year in best ball? I think that's a good question, and it will depend largely on how he and the Bills do in the playoffs. For example, Kincaid, like where would he go right now? He would go, this might overwhelm my computer, but I'll try to pull up his game logs. Okay, can't have that site open clearly. Let's pull it up on ESPN maybe. Yeah, I think he would go where Goddard went this year is a good allegory for where Kincaid will go next year. However, let's pull something up here. Like Kincaid obviously didn't pan out exactly as a pick. And I think a lot of people just don't like that I'm successful at best ball. And I drafted 30% of Kincaid. And so they're like hyper focused on it. But like let's tell the story of what happened here. Okay, bad game against the Cardinals, lost to linebackers in, yada yada. All right. Sorry, guys. I knew basically the ads overwhelm my computer. So I'll just sum it up for you. Kincaid in general, so like whatever, he missed a game to like he had 4 catches on like the first drive of the game, got kneed in the head, exited, missed some time. Same thing in the Colts game, got concussed, and then he missed like 4 weeks. And so in general, Kincaid is a first round pick. Depending who is on the Bills roster next year, like if the Bills, whatever, just pretend like they had Tyreek Hill and Mike Evans, which is not going to happen, but just pretend. Obviously, that would change the equation. But in general, I will be buying the dip on Kincaid next year because one of the biggest edges in general, guys, is just adding context to things. And if you add context to Kincaid's season, like, because most people are too lazy to do that and or don't have the ability to. They don't have the ability to like look at things and ask why did things happen, or they don't care to. And so, I mean, number one, the Bills could have a new OC, maybe less run heavy. But in general, like I'm not going to be other to my site if I believe it. You're not going to see me loud on streams being like, "Wow, this guy's one of the most underpriced guys." If I think he is, because I think the bias will go over the top with Kincaid. hopefully treating him as Freiermuth, which would be really, really nice. But, tight ends, notoriously slow position to develop. Still second on the Bills on targets. Bills, inarguably best offense in the league as far as scoring points. They score like 30 points every single week. Bizarre fantasy season, which they've been like that for a while. It's not going to be a surprise when Josh steals touchdowns, but he won't do that forever. In general, you're just not going to have, as he gets older, he's probably not going to run as much. He'll still rush in touchdowns, but not as much. Going to throw more. Maybe the Bills defense regresses. That's generally like the number one thing you want for a fantasy team is you want their offense to be good and their defense bad. A la the Bengals. And so, yeah, I think Kincaid was pretty snake bitten as far as like missing a month and exiting several games early. And if you had known he would be second on the targets on the Bills with, Josh Allen being basically the MVP and the Bills averaging whatever 30 points per game, you would have been like pretty good pick. Was he Trey and who was a good pick in that round? Trey McBride, yes. Kelsey, meh. Laporta, meh. Andrews like ran hot with touchdowns, so he turned into one, right? But there were a lot of bad picks that didn't get the attention Kincaid did, which is my advice to anyone who's like going on a process, like just take note of that, right? Like the Kincaid negative is way louder than the negative was for Jalen Waddle or Deebo Samuel, who literally went in the second round, right? So I don't know. I think tight end, slow developing position. Wouldn't be surprised for Kincaid to still develop into an 800 to a 1,200 yard guy, basically like a souped up Dallas Goedert. Will he ever be Brock Bowers? No, probably not. Doesn't seem like that's in his game. But he seems like he's a guy who has a deep element too. So, but where he goes in drafts will depend so much on how the playoffs go. So let's pull up the NFL schedule here. I got to get a PC. Yeah, probably I need to get a PC. Maybe I'll get a new gaming laptop too. So tomorrow we got Chargers, Texans, Steelers, Ravens. No, not really. I think Brian Thomas Jr. will be a first round pick. And the other thing with the Bills is I do think this kind of like everybody eats type offense, that could be here to stay. Some of it depends on Joe Brady. And the development of like a Keon Coleman, where like if Keon develops into a superstar, which who knows with him, he missed a bunch of time too. He was like roughly on par with Worthy stats wise and then missed 4 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. So who knows with Keon? Keon could, maybe be a Mike Williams-esque, or maybe he could just be a Gabe Davis-esque, right? Like who knows? But like how all these guys develop will matter, including Kincaid. So Chargers, Texans, Steelers, Ravens. Ravens without Zay Flowers for sure for this game. And honestly, I would assume Flowers is doubtful for next week, but pure guess. Chargers, Texans. Everybody thinks the Chargers are going to win. Won't deny that the Texans did limp into the playoffs, which generally not what you like to see. You don't want to see a team limping into the playoffs. Beat the Titans. These were backups, doesn't matter. Got destroyed by the Ravens. Stroud played bad that game. Lost to the Chiefs. So, I mean, really no shame losing to the Ravens and Chiefs. This game was close, and then Tank Dell got hurt, which I think is a big part of the issue with the Texans. Beat the Jags, beat the Dolphins, lost the Titans, not good there either. Almost beat the Lions. So it's like these games are really, really this game is the freshest thing in people's memory. And I just kind of refuse to believe that this singular game is so predictive. Is it great that the Texans lost Tank Dell? No, it sucks. Really sucks for them. But it's a 3-point spread. They're playing at home. I personally have the Texans winning that game, although I kind of want the Chargers to win. Steelers, Ravens. It's really hard for the Ravens to lose, but like the Ravens, I mean, obviously the Ravens are a better team today than they were earlier in the season. They literally have lost to the Steelers this year. They beat them. And the Ravens, they lost to some teams they shouldn't have lost to. They lost to the Raiders. That was obviously early in the season, week 2, right? So this game probably not super meaningful. They lost to the Steelers, right? So would it be that shocking for a division opponent to muster up and upset the Ravens at home without Zay Flowers? I mean, yes, it would be. It would obviously. It's not likely. They're 10-point dogs, but division opponent, weird things happen. For example, the Bills, without even Tua, the Bills barely beat the Dolphins that one year in the playoffs, with like Skylar Thompson at quarterback. The Bills this year barely beat the Patriots. Not the game that they lost with their backups, but they barely beat the Patriots, right? So these division wackiness, it can happen. Is it likely? No. But I don't know. Like, even though the spread is bigger on the Ravens-Steelers game, I do feel like the division element is a factor. And the Broncos, like the Broncos do some things well. They're a weird team. Like, they have a great O-line. They're going to try to maul you, beat you up like that. But, like the inability to like consistently throw downfield, having most of your offense built out of like screens and checkdowns, like that is gimmicky, not that impressive to me, right? They lost to the Chargers. They beat the Colts. They lost to the Bengals in overtime. Like the Bengals are a better team than the Broncos to me. Somehow the Browns scored 32 points on them. They have had some good wins too, right? They almost beat the Chiefs. They got destroyed by the Ravens. Not surprising. They lost to the Chargers again. The early games, especially for a rookie quarterback, not as meaningful, but I think the Broncos, quite like the Chargers, feel like they are at least 1 year away as far as being what they want to be. For the Chargers, it's just that like you can't build a whole offense out of Ladd McConkey and probably go to the Super Bowl. But Justin Herbert, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So if the Broncos could beat the Bills, like how does that even look? It's probably their O-line absolutely beating up the Bills' defensive tackles, which that's definitely like the relative weakness of the Bills' defense is their run-stopping D tackles. And Bo Nix churning first downs, running, and the Bills have turnovers. So kickoff fumbles, like something like that. Like it will take a lot because, I mean, the Bills are just a class above the Broncos, obviously. Yeah, so I have Texans. I'm going Ravens, of course, but I'm rooting for the Steelers. I'm going Bills, of course. I really don't love that the Eagles are playing the Packers because, I mean, the Packers are literally one of the best teams in the NFL. Are they quite as good as the Eagles? Are they quite as good as the Lions? Probably not, but I think they're the third best team in the NFC. And so, like as if I was an Eagles fan, I would not be happy with this. I would not be happy that I have to play the Packers in the playoffs. The fly in the ointment is what is Jordan Love's health? Of course, he's going to play, but I think reports were like his fingers went numb in a game, this last game. They lost Christian Watson for the year, which does sting for them. He was really developing into a solid piece for them. That's the other thing, guys, is I've been pretty good at nailing the guys who, like, I was early on Christian Watson, finally kind of became something this year. I was early on JMO. He broke out. So remember that about Kincaid. So Packers, Eagles. I'm going the Eagles, of course. I think the Eagles are the best top to bottom team in the NFC. But yeah, I really think this week will be a tough challenge for them. Because I think this opponent will probably be tougher for the Eagles than their next week opponent. Commanders, Bucks. True coin flip. I'm personally going with the Commanders because I believe in Jaden Daniels, and I don't think the Bucks defense is that good. They've been better, but when your schedule is the Saints, the Panthers, the Cowboys, all and the Raiders, they literally only beat one good team in this stretch, and that was the Chargers. It was a convincing win, so definitely a good win here. But like Davis was like, oh, they've been top 5 in EPA recently. I would effing hope so. I would hope so when you play Bryce Young, Spencer Rattler, Cooper Rush, and whoever. Like, I think it was Desmond Ridder. I would hope so that you were top 5. But they've also, they've been beat up on defense on occasion. So I'm going with the Commanders. The Commanders the Commanders should be a significantly better team next year. Because the Commanders to be doing this with like Terry McLaurin and then Zach Ertz as your second target, Austin Eckler as your second target, like that is impressive. And next year you would assume, just like the Chargers, like next year the Chargers and the Commanders should both be significantly better, just because they're going to have another competent offensive player. What's up, drafters? I think Love has been injured a lot this year. If you remember, he got hurt that first game of the season, and he never really recovered until recently, and then he got hurt again. So I still think Love is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC, but I really don't think we'll have the info until next year. And then I'm going the Rams over the Vikings. This game has been moved to Arizona due to the fires in LA. For anyone who lives out there, sorry for you. Wishing the best. Sure, man. Rip it away. Drafter's going to rip out a ticket here. We did a couple drafter streams earlier. I don't know if you saw that, drafters. I'll give out the ticket after this. But yeah, I'm going with the Rams. I just believe in Stafford more than Goff. I think the Rams defense has gelled as of late, especially their D-line has been pretty solid, right? Okay, this is the backups. Doesn't matter this game. Close win against a divisional opponent. They beat the Jets. Close win against divisional opponent. Shootout game against the Bills, which they won. They beat the Saints. Not that impressive. They got destroyed by the Eagles. Really not surprising, honestly. They beat the Pats. Bad loss against the Dolphins. They beat the Seahawks in overtime, so close divisional game. They beat the Vikings. However, the Vikings did play, I think, the Lions the week before in this game. So, yeah, I mean, that game's obviously a toss-up, but I'm betting on the greatness of Stafford and Puka over Darnold. All right, guys, if you have a Drafters account and you want to win this ticket, just comment the word Drafters starting now. And in 30 seconds, I'm just going to highlight a name like this. And whoever I highlight, whoever's the most recent comment, you're going to win. So just keep on writing drafters. Copy and paste. I don't care. Five, four, three, two, one. Who Hames? Hey, a YouTube member. Happy for you. All right, Who Hames? Tell me your you guys should stop commenting. Tell me your drafter's name, and I'll get that info to drafters, and or they will see it. Congrats to Who Hames. Drafter's name is Who Hames. That is easily. All right. Hopefully drafters knows that. And if not, I will DM them after the stream. Thanks for the giveaway, drafters. Appreciate you supporting the channel and giving away free stuff. Who doesn't love free stuff? So yeah, that's how I see the wildcard weekend going this week. For those playing DFS, just some intuition. I'm not look too deeply in the DFS slate yet. Probably going to look later, but I mean, there's multiple different slates. There's the Saturday only, there's the Sunday only, and then there's Saturday to Monday for those who play on DraftKings. So intuition about each games. Chargers, Texans. Texans are probably going to be under-owned as far from the non-optimizer people, because people just assume they're trash and going to lose. Steelers, Ravens. With no Zay Flowers, obviously, Isaiah likely becomes a very strong play. Mark Andrews as well, but he'll probably be higher owned. And Najee Harris was kind of operating as the check down back, but you would think Jalen Warren would get some run at that. Appreciate you, drafters, and congrats to Who Hames. I swear I didn't rig that. I just clicked the button. You guys can look back at old streams, but become a YouTube member like Who Hames. Bills, Broncos. Marvin Mims has become a much bigger part of the Broncos offense as of late in terms of playing in the slot and check downs out of the backfield. So, they're going to try to get that ball to him. However, he's 5,100 and also going to be chalk. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm too interested in that. For the Bills, if the Broncos blitz, then Shakir is strong. Other than that, James Cook, Kincaid pretty strong. And I think Ty Johnson is a strong pairing with Josh Allen at low ownership. And Ray Davis is a strong pairing without Josh Allen, where maybe you need a Cook injury, or just like the running backs have been getting there on the Broncos in the past game. And, the Bills kind of do that. And then, of course, Josh is going to try a deep ball to Keon or Cooper, or who is Surtain going to match up on? He's not going to match up on Shakir, I think, because he plays the slot. So is he going to match up on Cooper? Probably because of name. So maybe Keon will get a deep shot or two, maybe a touchdown chance. It's going to, if the Bills can go on a long run, it's going to be really interesting to see who, other than Shakir and James Cook, who of Kincaid, Keon, and Cooper, who is going to be the bigger guys in the playoffs. Packers, Eagles. I think this game is appealing to game stack up. The Packers will be a very condensed offense. I'm not as interested. If you think the Packers are going to lose, I don't think Josh Jacobs is a great play. But if not, obviously he's a good play. And then the Eagles pieces, pretty interested. Devonta Smith not at practice today, but probably going to play. And who knows about Hurts? Whether Hurts could tell you the day of the week, of course he's going to play football. He's missed a while with the concussion. I think he's okay, but you never know. Commanders, Bucks. This will be the chalk game. I'm more interested on the Commanders side. Obviously, Terry, obviously, Ertz are pretty strong. I think Eckler's a pretty strong play. He's not been playing. He's returning if this game is shooting out. And then obviously the Bucks pieces are strongest plays. If Kate Otten returns, which I would suspect he does, let me look into the practice history for him. But he'll probably be under owned to what he should be because he's just not been practicing. And looks like he was a full participant yesterday for the first time since his knee injury. So who knows if he's like what percent healthy he is. This practice shows him, like, trippy, which is not great. But yeah, Kate Otten. And then on the Rams, I mean, the Rams are like a two-man offense. It's Puka, it's Kyron. Who knows what Cup has left in the tank? Maybe they've been trying to save him, but probably not because they needed to make the playoffs. And on the Vikings end, Aaron Jones banged up. So Cam Akers an interesting flyer. The Rams pieces are also interesting flyers, a la Demarcus Robinson, maybe Tyler Higbee. On the Chargers end, who knows about J.K. Dobbins' health? Exited that game with an injury. Zeke just like seemed like Zeke is not insurance for Gus Edwards. He's not the same type of guy. He does kind of seem like, because J.K. Dobbins has been doing a lot of PPR scamming this year. You could see Zeke doing that. All right. Let's first off check out what the playoff drafts are on Underdog. I hate this dry air time of year. So drafts, NFL. So what do we got left? There's a high stakes big mitten. There's also the high stakes on drafters, $200. There's a new little mitten 5, 20 entry max, 5K. Mitten 3 still in there. But what I think I'm going to be doing right now is some battle royales. 30 grand to first. God damn it. Do I think Wicks is a good play? Yeah, I think Wicks is a good play. I think he'll be chalk. I've not looked at his salary yet, but yeah, with no Christian Watson, I think all the Packers skill wide receivers are good plays. Someone asked me earlier if I have thought about offering a betting package. In Florida, it's just kind of hard because I live in Florida because I can only use one book. And so it's just kind of like a pain for me to shop the lines. But I'm thinking about that, man. I'm thinking about it because it's not too hard to pick overs, unders. I've just not done it, so I can't, like I think I could be a winner at it, but I haven't done it. So I can't tell you with confidence that like I'm a year-over-year winner at this. But yeah, maybe I'll offer something cheap, like $10 a month. Here's my opinions. Because I did nail who makes the playoffs starting in December. So obviously I'm in tune with which teams I think are better than others. I think Zeke, I don't think they would mind rushing Haskins, but I think Zeke, like I think they just don't like those guys as pass protection and pass whatever. So I think Zeke, yeah, check down guy. When I lasted these, Hurts was QB5, which seemed kind of dumb. Like, why would Hurts go after Baker? But I get it. Baker's having a great year. Um, it's not too hard for me to see that world not so narrow. On Bateman, like Bateman, obviously a strong play in a vacuum. However, like if if the Ravens can just get up big and run Derrick Henry, they're gonna do that. So like that game profiles less to be a shootout than Packers Eagles. Um, and on McMillan's end, you got Kate Otten back. You do have the Marshawn Lattimore. Wow. I mean, it's probably not that rare, but let's do it. Josh and AJ Brown, grown ass man. Mike Evans versus Lattimore. Commander's more of a run funnel. So we're going to pass on Bucky. Would I take Josh here every time? No, I don't, because I think there's going to be enough of these rooms where Josh goes literally the third round. Because when you can get Hurts, in the fifth, Josh has got to score 40 to be worth it in the first, Just not really a smart market-based pick. He is Josh Allen. He could do it. I wouldn't say the Broncos are like the most likely matchup to see it, right? Like Josh Allen has his nuke games when the other team forces him to, usually. It is the playoffs, though, so of course, Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, Hurts, Daniels, these guys are all going to run more than they did in the regular season. Who's your lowest exposure? The Ravens. Like, obviously, I've been picking the Bills over the Ravens, so I'm not really that scared. It's just going to be is what it is. Do I have no Ravens? No, I don't have no Ravens. I also have very little Vikings. I don't have that many Bucks either. Not really that worried about it. I ended up getting 50 of the teams in on the DK one. And I thought I was building good teams still this morning. Like I got some beautiful Jared Goff Bill stacks this morning. Unfortunately, I ended up getting 100 in the gauntlet. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a bag on Christian Watson and Tank Dell, so a lot of those teams not so good. And I was drafting early when the Texans were more expensive, and yeah, I thought they were a good team. Still think they're kind of good, but just losing Tank Dell really stings for them, having already lost Stephon Diggs. So when you have Josh, you're not forced to stack. Same thing with Bo Nix. But if cheap, I will. We'll go Mixon. Let's go Mixon. And let's go Addison. Brother, this is not the right channel for number one, opinions on that subject / facts on that subject, because I don't know. And number two, to even discuss that here. Typically keep it football. It's a very important topic. It's just not my expertise. But for you, anyone in the LA area, really am thinking about you guys. He's been injured a lot this year, Benny. Unfortunately, a lot of the home insurance was canceled, I think. Yes, but, like, I mean, let's be honest, guys. Is the Rams' home field even that big? Like, if there's gonna be a team in the playoffs to lose home field advantage, I think the Rams are an okay team because, like, you see their games. Who goes to those games? Celebrities and such. It's not like the Rams don't have a huge raucous home field crowd. They're a team that moved there recently. Help me out, guys. I'm on the road to 7K subscribers. Love my community. What is your best solution for peace in the Middle East? I don't know, man. If I was in charge, I'm sure I'd try to come up with something, but I'm not. Hey, I like it, guys. Share it. Just share. Everyone share it with me. What kind of cereal? What kind of cereal, Benny? Did you have Lucky Charms? There, there you go, guys. If you just put me on a big screen, peace. I think that's what Benny's trying to say. Cocoa Pebbles. Happiness and this thing I'm going to say gets some people existential, but to me I find peaceful, which is like my mom used to always tell me none of this shit's going to matter anyways in 52 million years. And so whenever you have issues in your life, unless they're like really really big issues you need to deal with, just remember time will pass. It's probably not a big deal. Life's going to be okay. And find things you enjoy doing. I don't know. So we got a team with Josh, AJ Brown, Mixon, Addison, double tapping Shakir and Kincaid. Probably underdone by the field. Don't see the field wanting to take Shakir on a half-point site a lot. And doubt the volume drafters are into first-round Josh too much. I mean, I don't even know where you got this information from. What's that cereal that we had as kids that with like the cookies? Cookie Crisps? That stuff was gross. I mean, so true, man. Unfortunately, in a generation or two from now, most of us will be forgotten. Not me, because people will watch my content for, millennials. Just kidding. Totally kidding. I gotta take a piss, and then we'll rip another one. He's about to eat footballs, Mac. Targets. All right. Thanks for holding with me. I mean, who's this even refer to? The Raisin Brand thing. Fareed and I mean, has the guy who won Best Ball Mania, like, did he go on anyone's channel this year? Does anyone know? Does that guy even have social media? Someone will know in the chat. I don't eat cereal, guys. I used to a lot growing up. I mean, people ask me about Kincaid, man. Like, what do you want to do? Patrick Barnes YouTube. Honestly, I've never done this. Let's look at it together. Is it this guy? Are you serious? 460K subscribers, and he's just got like dog videos. Like, what is this? I didn't know. Was Patrick Barnes like a famous like YouTube guy growing up? I didn't know that. Like I didn't know enough to know like he was like a historical YouTube guy. Patrick Barnes is a dog. Oh, so he signs up on Underdog and he throws it back. You know that like I always thought this was a guy trying to start off in the best ball space YouTubing, and I was like, I'll give this guy some free advertisement. Why not? Um, but hilarious. Like makes me like this person a lot more. I'm a big egg guy for breakfast. Hookah, come on down. I don't know, man. Those videos were 8 years old. I'm gonna get copyright struck from this video, by the way, for playing that content. So be sure to like and subscribe. Every single Davis and I co-stream a channel, a stream on Wednesday, obviously. And every single time I get a message that another YouTube provider is using my content and do I want to copyright strike them? So all it would take is Davis or myself to be like, yes. And I don't know what would happen. Let's go with Nico. Grown man Nico. Apparently, information came out that Tyreek broke his wrist in training camp. So it really, Christian, not enough information yet. Loosely, I would say 3rd round pick. You know, like similar to what Cooper Kupp started with this year is what he'd open up with, but then he'll climb. And I mean, same with like Tua or whatever. Let's do it, dude. From your lips to God's ears. Let's win playoff best ball. That was my New Year's resolution. Winning a playoff best ball tournament. I didn't put as much volume in as some people. Just didn't have the time or the will. Like I didn't max any mitten or anything, and I won't. It's just kind of monotonous doing the playoff best balls. I mean, the Packers, man. The Packers for like the Eagles are my biggest position. Jalen Hurts is my highest drafted player. But yeah, the Packers. Unless you count like the Commanders game, like I don't even think that's an upset. Let's go, Patrick. Fun fact, my parents' names are Patrick and Patricia. Pat and Pat. So like to see the Patricks doing well. Pat Carrain was my most often guest member on my YouTube the year before he won Best Ball Mania too. Benny, I won the tournament before they did all these gimmicks. I have long asked for them to give me a crown. I think if you win Best Ball Mania, you should get a little golden crown. You know, why not? But doesn't seem to be high up on their order list. How would you rank the current head coach openings from most attractive to least? Let me pull it up, just the openings, because I know most of them, but I forget if this. There's 6 open, right? It's the Pats, the Jags, the Raiders, the Bears, the Saints, and what's the 6th one I'm missing? Pats, Jags, Raiders, Saints. Oh, Titans? No, that guy get fired? Oh, the Jets. Obviously the Jets. 6th. Okay. So least attractive, Saints. The Saints are honestly one of the worst position teams as far as having a hopeful future, and they will be that way until they land a quarterback. Second least attractive, the Raiders. No quarterback. They have fired like 5 head coaches in a row. Brady just fired the GM who drafted Brock Bowers and hit on 2 linemen. Probably should have, but I'm going to cash it out soon, Jeremy. So yeah, the Raiders, not desirable. Also, like having Brady as like above you doesn't feel great because he could just like on a whim decide it's over for you. And that wouldn't feel good. Let's do Goddard. So yeah, Raiders tough spot. I kind of want the Raiders to hire Dion and go Shadur. I think it'd just be fun. And then we got through, and then the Jets. I mean, the Jets is also like maybe the Jets is actually worse than the Raiders. Yeah, I'd probably actually go Jets worse than Raiders just because number 1, you have no quarterback of the future. Number 2, you have kind of an aging roster. And number 3, you're in a division with Josh Allen. So you're always playing for second, pretty much. I didn't secure 10th, Jeremy, unfortunately. And then we're going to go Stafford here just because he's drafted far less often than Darnold. That would be a mix for me, obviously. So yeah, worst Saints, second worst Jets. And maybe even the Jets is worse than the Saints just because the Saints division, there's no dominant quarterback. So it's like if you get a quarterback in the Saints division, you could turn it around. Right? And I kind of think the Jets are going to go with Rodgers, but I don't know. So yeah, maybe Saints, then Jets, then Raiders, and it's like a big tier for these 3 teams. Then it becomes a very interesting discussion because I think the Jags, Patriots, and the Bears are all very attractive jobs. Starting with the Bears, what's unattractive about it is you're in a division with 3 other really good teams. So that's not great. You're also in a division with an owner who has said that, like, it's not that important to me if the GM and coach are on the same page. So they might be keeping the GM. On the other side, Caleb Williams is supposed to be this generational prospect. And so if you still believe that, you have Caleb Williams, you have cap space, you have a defense. And so, Christopher, brother, my recommendation to you would be to rewind to the start of the stream because I did 2 drafters drafts at the start. So yeah, go back and watch that and you can skip forward. Anyways, on the Bears, they have a high draft pick. They just kind of need to fix their O-line. They need to get some more wide receivers. I think Caleb will work out. I think Rome will work out. But it's just not great being in a division with 3 other really good teams. And then the Jags job is pretty attractive because, number one, I believe in Trevor still. Number two, their division is relatively weak where, okay, the Texans are a good team, obviously, but then you got the Colts who might get another quarterback, and you got the Titans who are like a borderline disaster. And so I could see, like if you're Ben Johnson and you made Jared Goff look like a borderline MVP guy, don't you think you could do that with Trevor? I would. And then the Patriots job is pretty appealing because, number one, you're not playing for, like, it seems like the Dolphins and the Jets are both on the downtrend, right? Both have kind of aging rosters. Both don't seem like they have elite quarterbacks. It seems like Drake May is legit to me. I think Drake May should be in the conversation at the end of next year as a top 10 quarterback in the NFL if things go right for the Pats, right? And you have a bunch of cap space and a high draft pick. So it's kind of a like whatever, like what the thing, all those teams have their quarterbacks, right? It's an interesting position. We could go Jaden Terry. We could go AJ Brown, Jaden. We could go AJ Brown, skill player. Yeah, let's do that. We go Lad. Yeah, let's go Lad. Why not? So I would. It really comes down to your belief as a head coach in the quarterbacks, and honestly, I think it's pretty close. Trevor is obviously he has the highest floor in terms of actually having played in the NFL a while. And their division is not great. Like maybe to one head coach, they don't want to be in a division with Josh Allen. It's not great when you're typically playing for second in the division, right? And he's not going anywhere. That's the thing about the Raiders head coaching job too, which, okay, I'm going to read it. The Raiders is below the Jets because the AFC East has Josh Allen and the AFC West has Mahomes and Herbert. So you're usually playing for third. And whatever Bo Nix is, like Bo Nix, I'm not the hugest believer in him, but he could enter the conversation, maybe. So I don't know. If I'm Ben Johnson, I'm probably choosing the Jags or the Pats, assuming that the Pats have not just hired Vrabel. Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, denied the Pats a head coaching interview, and I think that's twofold. Number one, I think it's because the Pats mocked the Rooney Rule and brought in some guys who've been out of the NFL for a while, like Brian Leftwich. So I think he was like, "F you." And number two, it could be that's Ben Johnson's desirable location, and so he was like, "Nah, I'm not going to go there. I'll let Ben go there, and I'll go somewhere else." Um, and I kind of doubt Ben would want to stay in the division if he could. Like, just why? No need. There's other desirable spots. Unless you believe that Caleb is a significantly better quarterback than Drake and Trevor. And really, like, I don't know if there's been any information about that. Vrabel does seem like the chalk hire for the Pats. And again, I think that's not the best decision. Like, that's basically like hiring Belichick again. Kind of, But you just got rid of him. Everyone thinks it's Vrabel Pats, but I think if the Pats could, they would hire Ben Johnson. You would hope if you're a Pats fan, which I'm not. No, Olim. I've not done any of those streams this year. And that's because I'm not doing a lot of them. And so gonna keep it close to the vest what I'm doing there. I was a general in Halo 3. Wasted a lot of time in high school playing that. I was really good at Halo 3 and Halo 2. I could see the Lions coach getting hired for the Bears too. The defensive coach, Aaron Glenn. I could see Ben Johnson with the Jags. I think Ben will be with the Jags or the Pats. These are not playoff drafts. These are wild card weekends. I don't really know why he goes so late in these, but why did I not take him on my team? Because I have Saquon and AJ Brown, and I don't know. I thought it was kind of hard for all three to hit a ceiling game. Where I'm gonna take Jordan Love, who's barely being drafted. To pair with Jaden Reed, I'm not really worried about this guy doing it unless he wanted to go naked Love, which all the power to you, friend. But yeah, I thought about going Hurts here. It's a mix. Like, can Saquon, AJ Brown, Hurts be the nuts in this? Could be, sure. But getting a little different. What if you need naked Baker? I think it's also, Ryan, that the concussion info on Hurts had him originally going late. And when most of the contest has been drafting him like he's the QB5, it's just hard for them to close. It is funny that, like, a lot of people who draft a lot are like, oh, I don't want to draft playoff best ball right now because the teams that got to draft early are got things that I can't get anymore. Which I sometimes, hey, love that little dog on YouTube. Just learned about him. I wish there was a chat room for this. I mean, what's an ideal situation? None of the teams are ideal. They just fired their head coaches. If Ben Johnson wants cap space in the fourth pick in the draft, and if he believes in Drake May, like, ultimately Ben Johnson needs to choose who is the best quarterback because he's going to get his choice of the litter, or he should. Right? Who's the best quarterback? There's no ideal situation. I think there's 3 really attractive jobs, though. The Bears job, the Jags job, and the Pats job, and I'm a Pats hater. So, like, for me to say the Pats job is a attractive job, I was gonna say something else, but I forgot the point. Did it on every kill. Love it. Don't know where Todd Monken he's obviously a desirable guy too. I don't think Josh Allen, Aaron, is the edge in the contest. And also, like, I don't know. We've had our differences over there. I think Puka and Jefferson, like, arguably should be the 101 over Saquon. I don't know, Benny. Seems pretty crazy to do that again. What if Ben Johnson waits to see the team picking first next year for Arch Manning? Like you would have to feel that Arch Manning is so much better than already some pretty good quarterbacks, Drake, Trevor, Caleb. And you would have to know that you're going to get hired there. Like I don't think so. I do it salted, but I get your point. Yeah, I mean the what could ultimately sway Josh Allen almost making it back to me is kind of like a reason not to take him in the first round too often. What could ultimately sway Ben Johnson to the Jags is not only do you get Trevor, but you get Brian Thomas. Where with the Patriots, you get Drake May, and then you just got a bunch of cap space. So I do think the Jags are better than the Pats because of Brian Thomas. Don't you tell Lions fans this, Kev. They'll tell you he's the MVP. It's just hard for me to see Ben Johnson skipping out on being a head coach twice. Unless you're just in love with Dan Campbell, which, not everyone wants to be a head coach. It's a bit different than being a coordinator. Hanging out with Dan Campbell every year doesn't sound that bad to me. Absolutely. Trevor is clearly a better quarterback than Goff. Goff's a good quarterback, but like I think people have to realize if they're going to talk about Goff like he's the savior, that he has the best O-line in the league. And if you put Trevor on the Lions, they would be a better team. Healthy, of course. What do we think P Barn YouTube's doing here? I'd go Nico, Jeremy, but it's close. The thing with Ladd is obviously a good wide receiver. I believe in Ladd. I drafted a lot this year. He's going to be a high draft pick next year. But who's to say the Chargers couldn't get an even better wide receiver than him next year? Yeah, Goff is like around the 15th best quarterback in the NFL. 12 to 15. I mean, absolutely, right? Like, I mean, you got to have the ego to want to be a head coach. Like, if some people really want themselves to be the decision makers, some probably don't care about that. Um, I think in today's NFL, if you have a good enough roster, it's okay to take GT. If you don't, it's not. So, like, I think it would be okay for the Bears to take GT. If you wanted to say he will help Caleb so much, he will be our identity, yada yada, I think that's okay. Dallas is kind of harder for Dallas, you know, because Dallas, they've got some issues, man. You got Dak hurt. Who knows what he returns to, what level that is. You've got um, just some. They just their O line is not as good as it once was. Their defensive, like their run stopping D tackles, there's none of those. They don't really have a legit threat outside of CeeDee Lamb. I think the Chargers would cream their pants to get Gene absolutely. But I think it's really hard to justify trading up to go get a Gene especially when the free agent class probably won't be as good this year or anything like it, but might be okay. I think the Vikings would love to get him too, but again, you got to trade up. I mean, fair. I guess he's not truly optimizing for Super Bowl chances. He is a wild. Yeah, he'll do what he wants. So fair. Yeah, we'll do McMillan. Why not? And I mean, he might give some stability to the Cowboys, right? I don't think it's Super Bowl maxing to take running backs necessarily, but it can be high floor maxing in the sense that like do the Falcons need Bijan? No, but now that they have Michael Penix, I think they're kind of happy to have him. Brother, this can't be serious. I mean, this has got to be wholly unserious. Mac Jones is lucky to be in the NFL. Hell yeah, Aaron. What do the horns and headbands represent on the avatars? People are gonna have to help me, but I think the horns had to do with some eclectic contests where it's like if you finish top 100, you got them. Same thing with the headbands. I don't know. Yes, these are BRs. Doing BRs now. I mean, yeah, that's happening too for sure. Quite a nice one. Hurts, Cook, Puka, AJ Brown, McMillan, and Kraft. Let's do one of these. I don't watch NBA, so I'm gonna need your guys' help. If a guy's not playing, let me know. You'll find out, Ross. You'll find out. I thought about doing FFPC content this year, but I just didn't get to it. So I'm only doing like a couple lineups. I almost won the contest a couple times, but I don't know. It's in terrible content. It's 500K to first, 100K to second, and like $2 and a kick in the nuts if you get fifth. So No, this isn't all of these, dude. Yeah, don't. What I'll say on the FFPC is don't go full chaos, man. You don't need to. Like, you can play some really good players, and they will be low owned. For example, like Devonta Smith will be like 1% owned. There you go. Horns means he plays first in a battle royale. I mean, honestly, it seems like a fish move to display your horns, because it's like, why would you let people know you are? Is this guy playing tonight? Jason Tatum? Yeah, like this is like last year, Aaron Jones and Jake Ferguson, right? So like, there's really no reason to play, for example, Ray Davis. There's very little reason to play Keon Coleman. There's very little reason to play even Dallas Goedert. Although Dallas Goedert is a kind of a good allegory to Jake Ferguson, so maybe I take that one back. There's very little reason to play Jared Goff. Yeah, the Jack Doyle was the nuts one year. Here's what I would I got like 70th in the first contest. And I think my guy got ejected. So like I did okay in the first NBA one off of one entrant. But here's what I would recommend if you're going to try to volume do these. Number 1, find out the implied totals. Number 2, draft players from these games and game stack. So Bulls and Wizards. Seems like I want to be breaking ties to them. I've already bet on the Celtics. So, for example, I would get another Celtic and another King. Like, I don't need to know anything about the NBA to tell you that. Correct. Yeah. Bracket chaos is good. 70th. Yeah. It's not nearly winning, but I don't know. It was like, it wasn't the $50 one. It was the $10 one. I was just clicking buttons, man. So what game do I need again? The Kings. What's their thing? Sack. All right, we got a piece of Denver too. Seems like they're a high total against the Thunder. Seems like the expensive sack guys is DeMontis. So I'd say this guy's in the discussion for me. I simply like this guy's name, so he's in the discussion. And then in an ideal world, I get Malik Monk. He went 50. Oh, we didn't get Malik Monk. Didn't get Kristaps either. Okay. Sure. Russell, a bunch of assists to Jamal. We're only doing one NBA, guys. Don't. In fact, I'm going to finish it on my phone. Actually, we can do both, I think. A 101. We're going to pull Bucky up for uniqueness. I don't know why I bother looking at the draft board. It's just a habit. Hey, the Siege. Wild man. I've never changed my underdog logo, by the way. Maybe I did originally to be the lab because I lived with a chocolate lab one year. So definitely no more Denver dudes. Doesn't seem like there's many guys to stack with. Is Kelly Oubre playing? Anyone? I think so. Because I think for NBA, it's just choose 6 guys for the dog bulls at least. So when they're all the same position like that. So we're getting different at the 101. A little bit of game theory, if you would. Lonzo Ball? I don't think so. He's the dude who got ejected in my last game. Why is he so high? Any sackers? Oh, there's a sack. Trey Lyles. Oh my God, they're all so bad. Sure, Brooke Lopez. This is going so slow, this one battle royale. How is this even possible? It's like how am I made like 7 picks in the I play both. I don't daily draft all that often, but I am right now. I should be daily drafting more. Did those picks go through? What happened? Are we gonna do Lonzo Ball again? Obi Toppin. Great name. Jonas Volontius. Keon Johnson. I like his name. For both Stev, yes. Bobby Portis, he went to Nez. Just need him to get 4 steals again. Really, dude? Guess I could go another Celtic. Sure, Drew Holiday. Welcome to the team. Okay. And that will never return on stream unless I win the dog bowl. I was a chess teacher, and I worked for chess.com. BBB, dude. What are we doing here? Sure. We got Commander Buck stack plus double bills. Got to be rare to do that. Do I think 4 years old is too early to play chess? Benny, it depends. When I was a chess teacher, I would get kindergarteners young as 4.5 in my class. Was every kindergartner ready to learn chess then? No. I do think most can do it on one-on-one instruction. I was doing classes of like 30 to 40 kids, so obviously harder. But not every kid's ready at 4. Some kids can learn as young as 3 to 3.5. Almost every kid is ready by 5 to 6, though. I would definitely get her a chesskid.com account. And I was formerly the Blazing Bishop on ChessKid. All right, how are we going to land this plane? Okay, last one, ladies and gents. And then we're going to call it a day. We're winning the Battle Royale. I feel good about these 5 entrants. Yes, I do have a chess YouTube channel called Liam Teaches Chess. Go subscribe there, even if you don't like chess, just to help me out. I Haven't been uploading recently, but I will again soon. I'm playing a chess tournament tomorrow before the wild card game. Should finish just as the 4:30 game is starting, so I need you to describe what a spread'em style playoff chat like you pick the spreads. Roster remains the same throughout the playoffs. All 14 roster spots play at once. All so you yes, of course. You should go on YouTube and watch Brooklyn Castle. It's for free if you like that. It's a documentary. Um so Anthony, you can just choose anyone can choose like players overlap. It's not like a draft, you just kind of choose. My advice there would be to get in some low owned game theory plays. But I don't know. I guess I'm going for my terrible. Terrible. People stream like this? Ah. When the chat's acting bad, I'm going to do this. God. If you just listen to me, thank your lucky stripes. I've been there's a chess tournament I play every year up in New Jersey. The team tournament in February, so I've been training for it. I haven't been training my chess for a while, and mainly I've been physically training. I'm trying to get just in better shape because I noticed myself fading a little bit. I'm not as in good shape as I once was. I went for a mile run the other day, and then I saw this dude playing basketball. I was like, "Hey man, you want to play?" Just because I do it for fitness. I'm a terrible shooter of the basketball. I have paint moves. I can play in the paint, but I'm not like a big guy. I mean, I'm 5'11. I have like a 6'3" wingspan, but I'm not you know, no moves. I can only dribble with my left hand and I can't shoot. So, whatever. We were playing basketball, first to 11. I was just doing it for fitness. I am woefully out of shape to the point where I'm like on my knee, taking a breather between points. I was actually winning at one point. This guy was pretty good. He was like good at shooting. He could make the ball. I had to take 2 timeouts, which isn't it's not a thing in one-on-one, taking timeouts, but I was like, dude, I'm 32. I need a timeout. I'm ambidextrous. I actually write with my right hand, but I don't know why I only can dribble with my left. Like as far as like I can only drive with my left. You know, and like in my moves in basketball is like I can pretty much just drive, back you down, and then try to hit a hook shot over you. just that again and again. And occasionally like a little pivot spin move in there, but no basketball moves, no, no behind the backs, no swapping the hands, no fadeaways, no shooting at all. So, anyways, the basketball game was great for fitness, but definitely felt it afterwards. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is my last draft. Appreciate you guys hanging out for these 2 hours. Oh, dude, in a team one, yes. I'm a slap the floor, pick you up on defense. I'm pretty good at defense too, if I was in shape, but I'm not. Screaming from downtown. Yeah, I was doing that, man, but I went 0 for like 11 on 3-point attempts. Off-ball screens, I got those. And the fact I was even shooting 3-pointers shows that I was just tired. Because the only reason I shot a 3-pointer is I was literally too tired to like drive the ball. So yeah, woefully out of shape. I'm 32. If you're younger than me, stay in shape, get in shape. Only gets harder. If you're older than me, join me on this journey. We're getting fit, guys. We're getting fit. I know it's January. It's cliche, but we're doing it. We're going to go Goddard and B-Rob, Eckler, one of the Steelers guys. Cool. Or do we go Kincaid? Screw it, we go Kincaid. Kincaid and B-Rob. Maybe that just won me BR, guys. Or maybe that just cost me 30 grand. Fun. Fun either way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your wild card weekend. Go Bills. And I'll see you guys either Monday or Tuesday. So I will have more playoff content on beatbestball.com once the new playoff contests drop. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great day. Peace out.